Yo, yo, what's up, Stocktwits crew? Good morning and happy FAFO Friday. Good morning from Puerto Rico. I am out in Puerto Rico right now. And yeah, I know we didn't have a show last week because all of us were traveling from New York to the Stocktwits show and back home. So we're back on this week. We're all excited to get back on the show. Michael Nauss, how we doing, my man? I finally got to meet Michael Nauss in person last
I
week.
know, it
That
was
was a
really cool.
pleasure. Finally got
I
to see
know.
my man in person. So that was a
It
good
was a
time.
yeah, it was wicked just to finally because you talk so much just through, but it's just me sitting in this tiny room alone talking to a computer monitor. So it was great to see these people actually exist, and you're not all just figments of my imagination, which is great too.
I know, 100%. We so many great faces, and shout out Stocktwits and the whole
Hmm.
hashtag crew that put that on. That was arguably one of the best events I've ever been to, and it was just a great time. We had some comedy in the VIP section towards the later end of the night. It was just a great time. So big shout out to the crew there.
Hmm.
We really appreciate things, but it's been a crazy week in the market. We've had a lot of data go off. FOMC happened. We have a bunch of earnings that kicked off this week, so I'm excited to jump into things. But Michael, how are you? How are you kind of feeling about this week with the trades and I mean the markets? It feels like it's really bullish right now, pumping back to highs,
Yeah.
and kind of feels like the most hated rally we've had in a while. So I'm curious on your thoughts on how the week has been.
Those are the best rallies. I just looked over. That's why I laughed. I looked over chat. The first comment is "I exist." So I'm sure you do. The Yeah, these are the best rallies. The rallies that no one understands, everyone hates. That when you go on Twitter, they say, like yesterday, there was the talk of maybe a deal, and it was supposed to be a concrete deal, but it's got to get signed a little later. And you hear all of the arguments about why this makes no sense and why we're going to go back down to lows. Those usually end up being the best rallies because those are people who are very mad that they didn't buy anything near the lows, or even more that they sold near the lows, and they're really upset about it. So again, no one knows for sure, but this feels like that FOMO where each dip is going to be kind of relentlessly bought by the people who missed the overall dip to begin with.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just seems like nobody really wants to take part in it. Everybody seems, like things are gonna fall back down, which hey, I'm all here for. Wherever the market wants to go, I don't really
Hmm.
care. We're gonna catch moves either way, right? So yeah, really good stuff there. Just to recap kind of what happened this week, markets rallied Thursday as big headlines rolled in from the Vatican, as we know, or at least most of us probably know. We do have a new pope. Um,
He's
and
an
yeah, so
American, I
yeah,
heard
he's
too.
American
So
Pope, which is super cool. First ever. Love to see
good for
that
you
from
guys.
Chicago.
Congratulations,
Yeah, pretty cool
I
there.
guess.
Love to see that. The World Watch as white smoke signaled the election of Pope Leo. Chicago native named Bob, while investors cheered the first major U.S. UK trade deal under the Trump administration. But under the surface, crypto stocks stumbled despite a big surge in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Hmm.
Which, yeah, Michael, I don't know if you've really been up to date. I'm sure you're keeping an eye on things, but Bitcoin is just looking really good. Wow,
Yes.
we're consolidating at 102, 103,000 now. Last time I looked
Yeah.
at it, we were just sitting over that 101. So looking
Yeah.
really
So
good.
And it's not just Bitcoin this time, because for a while there, it was just Bitcoin. It
Hmm.
was Bitcoin was moving, Solana, Ethereum couldn't get off the mat. We're now seeing, well, this is the Solana chart. So the line that you're seeing is the anchored VWAP from all-time highs, means if you started DCAing into Solana at the worst possible price, you're now up money. And Ethereum is pretty close. And I made a comment on another show that I was on when I was sending them the slide deck and say, if Ethereum's moving, then we got to talk crypto because Ethereum has just been an absolute dog for a long time. So yeah, it seems like it's a wide, if you want to talk about crypto breadth, it's a wide breadth rally in the crypto space.
Yeah, definitely. I've been, I mean, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. I don't have a whole lot of Bitcoin, but I stay buying DCAing throughout pretty much every day. And through that dip, I was definitely trying to DCA a little bit more with some heavier cash on the sideline. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, feeling good about it. Obviously, I don't know about you, Michael. I'm not really one of those guys in Bitcoin that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make, $1 million off Bitcoin and go buy a Lambo. I'm really
Hmm.
not thinking that way. I'm saying, hey, I need to put a small percentage of my portfolio towards Bitcoin because one day I might need it.
Yep.
Right? That's all I'm doing. So
Well, and it's the first time ever, it actually let us out of this kind of bear market, right? And I think we were talking about this in the show a couple weeks ago, where the market still looked horrible and Bitcoin was starting to rip. And I think that's why you own some Bitcoin, because at the very least, it's a leveraged version of the Qs, right? So if the market goes up, this is going to go up higher. If the market goes down, so you take, 5-10% of your net worth, you throw it in something like a Bitcoin. In the best case scenario, it's actually a diversified asset where you've got your stocks and you've got your bonds and you've got your gold or whatever it is. And then you have your Bitcoin. And in a perfect world, it helps hedge against some, turmoil or whatever you see in the market. So yeah, I'm the same way. I trade it. I own some meme coins. I have some quantitative systems that I'm building just to trade Bitcoin or trade crypto for me. But yeah, I look at it like that. It's a sleeve in a portfolio, just like anything else should be.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's talk trade talk. We know a lot of things have been going on with Trump and whether or not there's deals coming or not. So yeah, we had Trump's new trade deal with the UK slashed tariffs on British steel and aluminum and cut car export duties to 10%. It also included a $10 billion aircraft order for Boeing. I think Boeing actually did really good yesterday. I don't know if it was specifically off that, but I'm sure that had something to do with it. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it a really important step for jobs and economic security, but the EU isn't happy. Brussels threatened 107 billion in counter tariffs on U.S. goods if talks fail, warning Trump's steel and aluminum levies are unjustified. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is off to Switzerland to kickstart U.S.-China trade talks, and traders everywhere are hoping for progress. Obviously, in the trading world, you see a lot of investors obviously just hoping and praying for some sort of clarity in this area.
Yeah.
Obviously I want that too. I'm not saying it'd be dumb to say I didn't, but at the end of the day, I just don't care, right? The market's gonna do what the market's doing. They're gonna reach a deal or not. Either way, trade the charts. That's all I'm doing, and letting the charts kind of depict what what the week looks like. I put in my cash. I got some cash on VU and QQQ towards the lows. We picked out some big weekly levels. I got them, and I mean, just sitting back and looking for the best, right? If we want to go lower, great. I'll start to add some more of that cash in. I'm really not in that boat. I think this market's a lot more bullish than people care to admit, but
Yeah.
it's kind of my thoughts there, Michael, if you want to dive into that.
Now so this is the chart of the just the EU, or
Yeah.
the United Kingdom, the UK. So they were way stronger than America basically the entire year. So to see that break out, means that at least they're happy with the deal as well. I am not worried, but something that I'm thinking about, and we'll probably spend the weekend thinking about, is this going to be a giant sell the news event? Right? We rally in anticipation of deals and talks and whatever, and then the deals come out and mark goes okay, and then I'm not saying back to new lows or anything like that, but is that where we're going to see our first kind of significant pullback since the tariff lows, right? Because I think what this taught us down here in the markets is that, right, Trump will flinch if the markets get too bad, especially the bond market. If they get too bad, he'll flinch. And then ever since then has been kind of a rally saying, okay, well, we can control Trump just by tanking the market enough. The question is, the deals are done. Do we get a little bit of a pullback here? Is that what we end up seeing? I don't know, but that's food for thought anyway, right? Because we always talk about sell the news events. This kind of feels like it could be a pretty big sell the news event.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I'm feeling pretty bullish, I will say, but we're in an area in which I have to expect the market to set up for a big time short here. I'm just looking at NQ. I could take a look at QQQ because I know most people are probably looking at that, but just on a monthly chart, I need to see QQQ absolutely run through 496.93, basically that 500 area, right? If we're trading aggressively over that, I think just based on a monthly time frame, I think we're very likely to see all-time highs again. I don't know how far we would go through there, but again, this area, this monthly imbalance that we're sitting in, have to expect to be sold off from here until the market actually shows me that we want to be aggressive over that. So I'm 100% with you. It's really make or break for whether or not this market's going to go higher here, and I just think it's very simple when I put it on a higher time frame. It's either we get aggressive here and run through and it's all-time highs for me, or No, we're gonna get some sort of higher time frame short setup because I am looking at a monthly, so I would expect this setup to happen on hourly 4 hour charts.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, if we see that, gotta expect some new lows of this range to come in. I would expect us to see into those 17,000s again, right on NQ. So just some thoughts there. I mean, I see so many people really complicating what's happening right now. I just pop on a higher time frame chart and let that tell me where the market wants to go. Because again, if we're right now retesting massive bearish order flow on a monthly time frame, and we're respecting that, okay, I absolutely think the market's going to go lower. Order flow on a monthly time frame is respecting bearish, but if we're running through that and violating it, I think the exact opposite, right? So just my thoughts there, keeping it simple on a higher time frame.
Good. Let's talk about qubits, I guess. Funny where I was laughing at myself because we have notes that we're reading against here of all the stuff that's happened, and the note is Michael and Jordan to discuss. And in my brain, I'm like, Michael Jordan's going to talk about quantum computing. That's so dope. What's going on? Just like, so I had to read it like 5 times to go, what's going on here with Michael Jordan and quantum computing? So, earnings, I think they said something about government contracts, and that got everyone like super hyped because that's all you want if you're especially one of these new businesses. If the government's giving you money, it's a good not only income source but a good vote of confidence to other type things. But the main thing I like about charts like this is I love these high flyers. I'm not smart enough to know anything about quantum computing, just FYI. But
Me neither.
when they don't die, when you get these like massive spikes, like this was a 90-cent stock that ripped to $10. 9 times out of 10, I'd say probably at least, these things go back down to 90 cents and they continue to go down. They reverse split and they get bankrupt and blah, blah. They couldn't kill this thing, right? It went down a lot, went down to, $3 again, but they can't kill it. So this is why, just pro tip, it's always why you use log charts instead of non-log charts, people. But this is starting to look really bullish to me. And again, I don't know if these things are scams. I've heard some people say that what they're trying to do is impossible, whatever. I'm not smart enough for that, but a nice looking kind of ascending triangle here. And then through that, we're basically at all-time highs and pop through here. So what do you think, Jordan? You gonna YOLO some quantum computers?
Oh, we might YOLO a little something with you, Michael. At the end of the day, I think you're right. If this was gonna really be bad, I think it would have gotten nasty pretty quick off those highs. I mean, they had a chance, right? It sold off pretty hard from those highs, but we swept liquidity at those lows and kept holding price. So at the end of the day, no matter what the company's doing, I'm very much like you, where I don't really care what the company's doing. If there's opportunity here and it looks good, happy to trade it, right? So this is precisely that, looking solid. You didn't get that nasty price sell-off continuation after rebalancing from those highs, and you're just holding price going sideways. The hard part about this is it's boring, right? It's just going
Yes.
sideways right now, and a lot of people will probably, on those big days down, even though you're still trading within this range, a lot of people can get scared out of a position like that. So I think, have a wide stop on something like this, kind of where your trend line is, right? If we're trading aggressively below that, probably don't want to be holding this for new highs here. But I think it looks great. You're consolidating. You got higher lows, flat top highs. I mean, I think this looks solid to try and break out. So looking good.
Well, and as someone who doesn't study fundamentals, I love, right, just this little earnings flag that happened here, and then that solid candle. Because I don't need to be smart enough to know the fundamentals. I just know that the market likes it, and it's challenging a breakout after a news event. That's super interesting to me. Down a little bit in the pre-market, but this is one that's going on my watch today. Because if we can start challenging this kind of $11 area, I think I'm gonna YOLO some qubits, some D-Wave.
Yeah, I like it. It's definitely been a name popping up more on my radar. Again, I've been seeing it on a bunch of scanners and just people talking about it in spaces. Obviously, earnings was a big deal for it. So I think that was a nice little kickoff. We'll see how it goes. But we had a bunch of earnings kick off this week. Crocs up 9% on earnings. EPS is $3 versus 249. Let's see. They withdrew for guidance, citing trade uncertainty, but emphasized market share gains. We had Novavax up 11% on earnings. They raised for your guidance eyes FDA approval for COVID vaccine. Interesting. We're still on
I was
that.
supposed to say COVID's still a thing.
We're still on that. Really? Come on now.
Is I haven't heard about COVID since
Come on now.
years now. And I think the chart kind of explains that, right? 330 down to $6. So this is kind of like you got this spike, and right, this happened January 2020, spiked all the way up, and then they're like, oh, you guys only do one thing, and then back down she goes. So yeah, I don't look at any of that. Crocs was kind of interesting when you were
Crocs
talking
was
about Crocs.
interesting.
This is nice little like range bound type of action here. So right through this, you potentially have a gap to fill, and that's like a 20 something percent gain on something that's really boring. I know I'm full on dad mode, man. I got a pair of Crocs I'm wearing around the house now and everything, and buying them for the kids. They're definitely they're making some money because it feels like a piece of styrofoam that I've got to buy. And when your kids are growing, you're buying new pairs every 3 days. So this is interesting. I like these just kind of island reversal. It just shows, yes, this thing's been beaten up pretty dramatically, even from last year, but the dips are starting to get bought right around this $93 area. There's people accumulating. If they're beating earnings, moving on earnings, maybe if we can get through this 113, 114 area, we challenge the gap fill at 130, and that's like on a percentage gain on something as simple and boring as Crocs. That's I think it's pretty good
Yeah.
type play.
No, I think at some point you're going to get that gap fill right. It's just a matter of when, and looking pretty strong with the momentum off those lows right now. But we're sitting right in that area where if they want to slap it, they could absolutely do it again. But the more times we kind of sit, I'll always talk about, kind of just bottoms in a stock, whatever name you're looking at. In this case, it's top, but the more times we're tapping that top, the more it's like glass for me. It's going to break at some point, right? And that's kind of my thoughts there, but just gotta be aware, especially if you're trading options contracts on something like this, that, you can be chopped up pretty quick. So you really want to have that confirmation of momentum with something like this. But I think it's great. If I was long it, I would target that 50% retracement of the gap first. And, if you're seeing strength of the 50% retracement aggression, no worries to hold some runners into the full gap fill. But yeah, Crocs, crazy name over the past few years. It's done really well. I've never traded it, but maybe I should.
It's one of those you look back on, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Right, from $1 to
Duolingo
to
too.
100.
Same
Duolingo,
thing.
Monster, MSTR. Like this was one of the best performing stocks like of all time. From this is 50 cents to $400, and you're like, I like a good energy drink as much as the next guy. But you always just look back and then look at the strength of it. Even recently, this is a weekly chart, right? Getting close to new all-time highs. There's always these random stocks that they're not sexy, they're not quantum computing like we were just talking about, so no one really talks about them, but they keep making new highs. So it's kind of like Costco, I think, is the perfect example of that, right? Just imagine, right? If you were a
Oh my
you did
gosh.
nothing but like worked at Costco in like the 90s, and they gave you some shares. We're talking 70 cents to $1,000. The percentage gain is just insane. So yeah, sometimes it's the most boring stock that ends up being the easiest trade. This is 120,000% gainer.
Wow. Yeah, it's insane. One of my dad's clients is actually he retired completely just off Costco stock. Crazy. Bought it when he was insanely young. And look at the chart. He's kicked back and enjoyed life for a while. So crazy to think about. You would have never thought Costco would be a stock that, I'm gonna buy this and this retires me. But
Well,
just
and it's
crazy.
not only right, you're owning the stock, but they're paying you
Yeah.
dividends, right? So you're getting
Yeah.
paid. It's like I think a couple percent a year to own the stock. So
It's amazing.
yeah, it's fun to trade. Like I'll be trading D-Wave, but when it comes to things you want to own for the long term, I'm more interested in like Crocs and Costco and all of this, because then you're less freaked out when the president goes insane and takes the market 25%, right?
Exactly.
You're chilling.
Yeah. We had a few negative earnings come through this week. Peloton, -7%. Revenue fell 13% year over year. Warned tariffs will hit quarter four free cash flow by $5 million. Match Group, MTCH, down 10% on earnings, announced 13% workforce cut despite Q1 EPS and revenue beats. And then, of course, yeah, we talked a little bit about Bitcoin, Ethereum, SUI, also SUI, up 20%. Love to see that.
I've seen that one. What is it?
Yeah.
What's the point of this one? What does this do? It's
You
been
know, I,
such a
I couldn't tell you
insane.
exactly, but I know we've been keeping an eye on it for the crypto side of things, but I really couldn't tell you, brother. I'm just
That
like you.
summarizes everybody's crypto thoughts of like, why do you own XYZ? I don't know. The number's going
It
up,
might it
so
might be a part of our future. I don't know. I'm just buying it. Like,
it's going up. But yeah, this one's been one of those that have recovered. So just what I'm doing in crypto, taking an anchored VWAP, popping it from all-time highs on every crypto that I watch. If we're breaking through this price, I'm interested in buying it. That's it. Just keeps it super simple. If we get back below this price, so this one I don't have, but I would have been in around $3, and then that's where your stop is. And the reason for it is if we go back to the prior cycle, I noticed this a lot. Is there's Doge, right? It gets through the anchored VWAP kind of right here. Maybe you got even faked around here. Gets through there and then rips. You can see this with Solana. You can see with Ethereum. You can see with Bitcoin. It just makes things so much simpler. Where, right, even Bitcoin on this move, right, it gets you in at like 90. It's a way to very systematize this whole crazy thing, because if you're going to get that momentum through all-time highs or two all-time highs, you're going to see that pretty quickly as the sentiment starts to shift, and it's going to start to shift around this VWAP. And then again, if you're wrong, you're taking haircuts. And when you're trading momentum names like crypto or quantum or whatever, that's your whole thing. You want to take small, tiny hits, because you're basically playing these as lottos, right? Bitcoin could rip to 120, 130, so I'm okay buying it around 90 and then getting out around 85, then buying it. I'll do that 10 times, because when I'm right, if I buy at 90 and it goes to 130, that makes up all those tiny little haircuts plus a nice little payday. So anyway, that's what I'm doing in the crypto space, just because like you're saying, some of these, I don't know what a lot of these things do at all whatsoever. Again, I own a handsome amount of the fart coin because it did the same thing. And again, I know this thing does absolutely nothing, but it's the
look at
same pattern, right? If you take the anchored VWAP, you slap it on
it's
all time
crazy.
highs.
You'd have never thought something named Fartcoin would look that good of a chart right there. It's just insane.
It's I am so happy with this position. I've over doubled on this, but
That's
same thing, right?
amazing, gosh.
So so I bought a little bit at 55. I got stopped out, and then when it came back through here around 60 cents or so, that's where I got in. So now I've got I'll draw a trend line or something for a trailing stop, like a pretty wide trend line, and just let it go. Because say I got hit, I think, once here, but say you got hit three times here, and then it finally ripped. You're still loving life. So
Yeah,
it's
if
not.
you're managing risk on those losses, I mean, you're just taking those haircuts like you're saying. That's the whole way I trade, Michael. I'll lose for a week straight. It doesn't matter. It's fine with me because I'll keep those losses small, and then one, two bangers is all I need to make it up, right? So,
Exactly.
I'm with you. Take those haircuts when you need them. Take those opportunities. Manage your risk diligently, right? And then when you are right, you let that shit run, and it's just it's a field day. It's amazing. So. Absolutely with it. We had a few more earnings, or yeah, just two more. We had Coinbase up 5%. Obviously,
This is
Coinbase running with
really,
Bitcoin and everything. What are your thoughts on that, Michael?
yeah, but did you read the news? Really interesting. I used to, so I did a lot of crypto stuff. I ran a crypto arbitrage desk back in the day, back when there was, right? You could buy Bitcoin at this exchange and sell it at this exchange. And you could make money doing that. That's all gone now. But they bought Debrit, and Debrit was an OG options exchange. It was around back in like, geez, I'm such an old man. It was 2018, which was like the original crypto bubble. These guys were there and creating crypto options. So the only reason that I think Coinbase would buy it is if they're going to soon offer options on this. So again, buying a call option on like a Pepe coin is just the most hilarious thing ever. But to me, that opens up a whole bunch of other things that you could do. Like you could just sell iron condors or spreads or whatever. That if I had a bunch of Bitcoin on Coinbase, and I may actually open a Coinbase account and move some of my Bitcoin over there, you could do like covered call writing, and then take the income from the covered call rating and use it to buy more Bitcoin. You could do things that generate income off crypto that you already have through options. So I think this is really interesting. And as we know from the CME and the CBOE, these guys print money running an options exchange. So I think this might be really good for the company.
If they do something like that, that's going to be massive opportunity, especially because you know what kind of, those cycles that crypto can get in where it's just going sideways for weeks, maybe even months. Imagine just writing option contracts for that, collecting all that premium and then throwing it right back into Bitcoin. I mean, that is just a move. So if that becomes a thing, I'm definitely going to be taking part in some strategies there because,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a whole nother world of opportunity opened up, obviously. A whole new world of opportunity means a whole new, style for people to get bagged. But if you're doing it right, if you're being smart, I think that could be some really good opportunity in the future. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
That could be really good. We had Marathon Digital. They were up 7.2% on the day, but down 2% after hours. After that earnings came out, Q1 EPS was negative $1.55. Missed estimates of minus 52 cents. Revenue was 214 million, missed estimates of 216.9 million. They blamed $500 million loss on Bitcoin halving, plus the price dip. The Stocktwits sentiment is extremely bullish despite the miss. So interesting.
This is the problem with this, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I know Jordan, you've heard me do this rant before, but this business sucks. I've worked for a crypto miner, right? So when I was doing that, basically the same place that I was doing the arbitrage bots, part of my job was to monitor crypto and try to get them good prices on the crypto they sell. You have security guards because the whole warehouse has millions of dollars of GPUs in it, and now they're not GPUs anymore. They're specific Bitcoin miners, but you've got a whole bunch of hardware that you have to power and you have to cool. That's why up here in Canada, crypto became so big so quick because we just open the windows, right? You could cool some of these miners. But so you have all of this overhead, and then these things have to be monitored by technicians. They break down, they start to underperform. It's just a huge capital intensive, power intensive, risk intensive business. So people before were trading these before there was ETFs. People were trading these things to get crypto exposure. To me, now this makes absolutely no sense because if you want crypto exposure and you want a company, you got Coinbase, you've got Robinhood, now you've got Webull. You can get involved in. These companies make money and make pretty good money while you're waiting for the crypto to do well, or you can just buy the ETF, right? You can buy Ethereum ETF. I hear that there's potential Solana ETFs and Ripple ETFs and all of this coming out. So yeah, I don't see these companies ever doing anything ever again, and that might, I know I'm going against the Stocktwit sentiment, but I just don't think they're going to do anything ever because why would anyone who wants crypto exposure buy a depreciating asset when you could just buy the crypto, which is an asset that's going to do whatever crypto does, or buy a Coinbase or a Robinhood, which makes money and will move with Bitcoin. So yeah, there's my rant. I think all crypto miners are dead men walking, and they might not ever go down, but I think they might just do this for the remainder of time, which is even worse in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not too fond of the Bitcoin miners, and at the end of the day, I think a lot of people do forget that it's not crypto. Sometimes it's going to move like crypto for sure. It's going to have that sentiment, but it's not crypto. It's crypto mining, and it's a completely different thing. So there's that bell, baby. Open the market. Open the market up. We have Lia joining us. Oh, there she is. Surprise, surprise. Hello, hello. Good morning.
Hi guys, hello. How are you?
Oh,
my God,
doing
I was just
great.
listening to you on Twitter, so I'm caught up on the topic because then I just
good.
I have no idea what you were talking about.
Oh, you're
How
good.
Are you? How are you?
Oh, we're good. Just getting ready for the morning, getting ready to wrap up the week. It was, we got to meet Lia as well. I got to meet Lia in New York last week. The whole team was out there. That was a great event, wasn't it, Lia?
It was an amazing event. I actually had really good time. I have to say.
So much fun.
It
Got
was
to meet
just too
Katie
short.
too. Yeah, I know. Got to meet Katie too from the normal Stocktwits show that does it with Shy. So it was just a great time. Got to meet everybody. I love like actually being face to face with the people we meet on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's just so cool to see. So very stoked about that. Let's get into some of the trades you took this week, Leah. What do you got for us?
Okay, let me share screen.
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free. It's been a crazy week though. We had FOMC. We didn't really touch on FOMC a lot, Michael. Maybe we can touch on that with Leah a little bit too.
I'm just looking at Mara as you guys were just talking about.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. What are your thoughts on there? We're not too fond of like the Bitcoin miners, but I'm happy to hear your thoughts.
I have a lot of Mara. I have pretty much every crypto stock you can possibly imagine. And what I do with this one, I'm selling options around it. And implied volatility is super high. So you're making
that's a good move while it remains
a lot of money. Yeah.
So choppy, yeah.
But at this point, I wish I would sell it here in November. I'm not sure if we ever get there. We might, but definitely it would be my level to get out, or maybe even earlier. But I'm enjoying this income. I have thousands of shares, so it's really like a passive income on that pretty much. So I am in Tesla.
So what do you think? Did you just while we're on that? Did you hear the talk of Coinbase buying Debit or buying the options exchange? Is that something I know, because I know you do options? Is that because I'm super interested in not even looking to buy call options on Pepe, but I think there's going to be a lot of money made in people who are have a big bankroll and they're selling credit against these crypto contracts. I think it's going to be huge. I'm super excited for it. I think that you could just create a whole secondary income.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, Mara, I usually, when I sell covered calls or I sell puts, I do month out, and with Mara I do week or 2 weeks, and I'm getting insane premiums on every single time on those guys. So, and it trades really well with technicals, so it's kind of honestly, I never had any issues with this, and I've been doing it for years. So that's why I'm keeping them for now. And when they pop, I will sell. But I'm also in Coin. I think Coin, it's the best exchange out there, right? That I trust, and I'm long Coin, and this looks like nice inverse head and shoulders. I have actually hit the green line as a potential entry for a trade, and then ride it up to 230. That would be a trade that I would take. Again, I hold it in long term, but that's a different situation. And this week, it was an interesting week. It was a little bit on choppier side. I'm long MSTR. Again, I own it in long term, but this was my another entry. Here was the first entry, and this was entry for this week. So yesterday we played the retest of the breakout level right here. I'm glad I'm keeping my lines. So it was having a huge gap up, retest, and then long. And I'm glad that it's still going. 237 is my target on. I'm
curious, Leah.
MSTR. Yeah?
On MSTR, I know you hold long-term shares. I've been doing some spaces with some of the Yield Max guys, and they have MSTY. Have you taken any interest in that? The option income ETF of MSTY. I'm just curious if that's something you kind of use.
I do not have that one, but I have the Bito on Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's also high income. Look,
those can be great when you're holding a long-term position, and things you can identify like, oh, things are going to be choppy this next month. Let me just take a percentage of that and collect some income,
Yeah, it's just when it runs a little bit slower because I think they distribute the dividend, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to have a little bit. I have this one actually in my dividend portfolio, which is a high income, high risk, but why not? It's good to combine it with the Coca-Colas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. And now I'm actually long Okla. I don't know, I'm not liking it that much so far, but this was my entry. 27 was my entry, and 25 is my stop. So we'll see what happens. I was playing basically the retest of the Friday, or what was it, Tuesday? Yeah, I was playing retest of that move. So we'll see. These ones are tricky, but why not? You can play sometimes. And I have Tesla. Oh wow, yeah, okay. Tesla
She's looking. I'm getting more and more bullish.
I'm in Tesla on 287, and I was gonna add a 290, but I forgot because I'm here. I can't trade and talk in the same time.
I know.
But
it can
Tesla
be
is good. Yeah, it's tough. I think we go to 300 something. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to break out of that range, right? That's what it's been like for me. I'm happy to be bullish on Tesla, but I haven't really been able to until we've gotten over these range highs. And now
Yeah.
we're, again, like
Yeah.
if we were to pop up to those range highs like the last time we did and, reject and then get some really aggressive price action to the downside, then
Yeah.
I would have been thinking more that way. But the fact that we pop up to that area and yes, we reject, but you see how we just consolidate sideways, we hold price and look at now we're trying to break through that. So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
definitely
it's
every day by day I'm getting more and more bullish on Tesla again, just
Yeah.
because the price action's telling me to,
Yeah.
So
It's
Good.
good. Yeah, it's good.
I'm
Looks good.
what are your
good
thoughts,
for all
Michael?
this as an owner, right? MSTR, I own Tesla, I own. So I have again, as a quant, I have a system, and it just basically it takes all of the stocks out there in the tradable universe and it ranks them by a combination of dollar volume, so how much volume is traded on a dollar basis through the stock every day, and then how like good the trend is, right? So slope of the 200-day moving average, month stuff like that. So everything that Lee is talking about so far, I own. So I'm very happy that I always love when you get a lot of different traders liking a stock or liking a level for completely different reasons, because it just means there's more people out there that have an incentive to buy the stock for something completely different than you do, right? And the last thing is you want is everybody likes one stock for one reason. That I think can be kind of problematic. So yeah, I just love that this is also different.
Nice. And
So
yeah,
it's
this
great.
one also, I'm eyeing RGTY. So it had this beautiful breakout, and I was waiting for retest, and now I'm looking at entry around here. We'll see. But I need some more volume. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not eager to take trades on Friday for swing, especially when we have US-China talks. What I'm going to stay in is Tesla. I'm going to stay in MSTR over the weekend. Most likely, I like crypto through the weekend. And yeah, so that's pretty much my trading. And Oklo. I think I said that one already, right? Oklo.
Okay, well, those are
Yeah.
one of those small
Yeah.
nuclear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I
I've
missed
got.
QBTS. I'm so sad.
We were talking about that
We
this
talked about
morning.
that one,
Do you trade momentum at all? I noticed just by watching some of your trades that you're more of like a pullback, like pick my level type person. But I just
Oh,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
for
no.
this
I'm a
one.
momentum trader mainly.
Okay, so would you buy that on a breakout around 11 or so? Because that's I think I was just filling
Yeah,
out an order,
yeah,
like a
yeah,
stop
yeah.
limit if it gets over 11. I think
Yeah,
might be a
yeah,
play.
yeah. Of course, I trade those more actually than reversals. I trade
Okay.
more the breakouts, yeah. But again, it depends on the market too. But yeah, I love trading this stuff. Breakouts. Like
Yeah.
PM was another one, but it failed. So PM was another. I was trying to trade the breakout of 173, which if you look like a long-term chart, I don't know what level is it from when, but yeah. So that was oh my God, look at this chart. I was trying to trade that one, Philip Morris, which was doing pretty well for a while, but then sometimes these breakouts fail. Of course, that's why you have very tight stop. I'm always trying to explain everyone that even if half of your trades fails, it's okay, because if you have a little stop, you get out. But when you are right, you're gonna have to ride this stock for a long time. So 3-4 hours, 2 hours, doesn't matter.
Do you want to know my win rate this year?
Tell me.
My win rate this year on futures is 48%, and I
Yeah.
am massively
Profitable.
positive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
right? It just goes to show, like, everybody thinks you got to be right all the time. You got to be. I'm
No.
actually wrong more than I'm right
Yeah.
on a consistent basis, but I'm
Yeah.
green on my accounts, right? It's a matter of risk to reward. Of course, I think it matter. Your win rate matters more when you start to get into that negative risk to reward ratio, right? Because there are some people that take those very quick trades that might actually end up being a negative risk to reward. And that's when I think, okay, that's when you have to hammer down on your win rate and make sure you are winning
Yeah.
more than losing. You know what I mean? But if your risk to reward is big and you're able to, get at 1 to 2, 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4, 1 to 5, those are my favorite trades, of course. You wipe out those losses so fast. And for me, it's just a less stressful way of trading. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
with you on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
My favorite trend following system has a 33% accuracy. So you're wrong.
Boom.
And the reason I think stuff like that works is most people aren't cut out to lose that much. I think it hurts them too much mentally. So after, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I still make money with low win rate. And well, oh yeah, I could do that too, until you've taken your 10th trade in a row and you have to diligently take the stop on that 10th trade in a row, and you know you're really in the bum, you know, about it. Then you've got to take the 11th trade, and if you don't take the 11th trade, that could be the one that makes back all the money. So yeah, it is very hard, and that's the reason why I think it works, is having low win rates, but makes money in the long run. So that's why I think that is the way to trade.
Yeah, it's definitely not
Also,
easy. I will
no,
say.
it's not, because it's the ego too. We don't like to be wrong, and it's like, I'm wrong again.
Yeah.
Once you get over that ego, then you're fine. And yeah, it also depends on the market, Jordan. This market is really choppy, so I think I have also lower win rate than I would have in January or November
Definitely.
last year, right?
Definitely.
Like last year, my win rate was almost 80% because
Yeah.
it was pretty easy market to trade. So, you know, that's how I'm looking at it. This is a choppy market, so we have more losses. But then when we get the stock that really goes, we have to really stay in, because otherwise you won't be able to make it this year. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it works for you.
Yeah, 100%. I love what you said, Michael, too. It's just it's not about, you know, oh my gosh, we're losing over and over. It's so mentally hard to get through. And like you say, you know, your 10 losses in to take that 11th trade is so difficult to get yourself to do. But once you start getting in that process, and again, it's a matter of trusting your process, right? Like I have so much trust in the way I trade that if I've lost 10, let's just be real, 10 trades in a row should not happen with my system. But if it does, I will have full-blown confidence to take that 11th trade, right? You have to, and you have to trust the plan, right? If you've back tested it, if it's proven to work, you just have to trust the process. So
Yeah.
it's the way to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Coinbase
look,
is
I
looking
had
good. Gosh.
really powerful January, February. In March, I had a losing month, and
Yeah.
it's okay. But this was exactly my situation. Everything I took, I would lose money on. And sure, it didn't ruin me because it was planned, but still, if I have 1% stop loss on my portfolio on a trade, and coin is breaking out this level, and I lose 10 times, that's 10% on your portfolio is gone, right? So it kind of is really difficult. But then it's good to just reconsider the style of trading, and it's good to sit down, like you're trading futures, so you're fine in kangaroo market. My trading maybe is not. So then it's good to slow down or just do something that works. And that's why I shifted into just selling options and not taking any swing trades for a while. Now I'm back into swing trading because we have some sort of, even if it's choppy, we are moving towards certain direction. So that's like good to evaluate everything you do in trading.
Market's definitely, it's been looking better for swings. I really haven't participated much in options. I did a little bit in the beginning of the year, and then since then I've really just loved my futures in this environment. So I've been sticking with that. But like you say, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, unless you're just an options fiend, you're kind of taking a little bit of a step back from directional options this year. And you're probably doing a lot more premium selling, doing
Yeah. That's
you know,
what I'm doing, exactly. I'm selling premiums, and if I feel a little bit uneasy about certain trade, I do spreads.
Yep.
That's
I like that.
Yeah, because it's like limiting. But now I'm a little bit annoying because I have 50 covered call on Hoot, and I have Tesla. Yeah.
It's looking good.
It's looking good. Yeah. I think we're going easily to.
It's a strong Friday so far. It loves its Fridays, so keep it running.
Yeah. Nice, yeah. But we had those last year, the Fridays. Remember, guys? It was like really nice market every Friday. Like from Thursday till Friday, it was often that we rallied.
Yeah. What's that, Michael?
Well, yeah, and imagine you're short right now, and the Friday's coming, and we know there's the chat with China that's happening on the weekend and stuff. I think there might be just a bunch of short covering today just to de-risk, right? Because there's a lot of people probably betting the market's up like what 20% or something off the low, something crazy. You imagine there's a lot of hedge funds that are trying to lean on the short side to kind of balance their portfolio, but you're not getting any love at all, and you've got this big meeting that's going to come up on the weekend. And you know, I was mocked for saying it, but I was saying it the whole time, is that Trump's going to use any excuse to say, we got a good deal now, everything's great, it's time to move on. I think the I think there's going to be some sort of deal, or at least on the weekend say, oh, we're getting really close. It was a great meeting. They said nice things about me or whatever. And I think people are worried about a big gap up next week, so they might be kind of dramatically covering here a bit.
I was just posting it today because everyone's like, oh, we're going to fall from the 200. Now we're about 106.18 on Fibonacci, so we closed on that. But everyone is expecting huge dump. And maybe it's going to go up straight up to the 5,880, 5,900, 5,900 next week, which I see as a next local top. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised we have big bounce next week, and then maybe retest that level. And then if this 200 would become a support, that would be excellent at some point.
This is the most hated, and me and Jordan were talking about this too. This is the most hated rally I've seen in a long time.
Why?
Yeah, everyone seems to hate it. Everyone, the more I go on Twitter and it's always, oh, this is going to go retest the lows. It reminds me, this is going to tell you how old I am, but it reminds me of 2008, where people were calling for this double dip reception in 2008 for 10 years after 2018. The people were still saying, and yeah, it just makes me feel all of the anger against this rally just, to me, screams people that didn't buy the dip, they didn't get involved, and now they're looking for an excuse to say why none of this makes sense, which again makes me super bullish that everyone hates the dip.
It's always a stock everybody wants to buy is ripping, and then it finally rebalances and starts going lower, but it's going too low off a certain headline, and people freak out. They don't want it, right? And then the price that they once said they were going to buy goes right away, and it's just a never-ending cycle, right? I see it. I mean, I've only been a part of a few market dips because I'm so young. We'll be a part of more in the future, but
Rub it in.
But I mean, even from what I've been a part of, you see it with everybody, right? You see it across social media. It's like everything's ripping, everything's going good. People are saying, okay, Nvidia hits this level, I'm buying it. But then we hit that level, certain headline is on news or whatever it may be, and too scared to buy it, right? So I think that's where you gotta stay.
Yeah.
You gotta stay strong with your thoughts, you know what I mean? Even though it's really tough. I get it. Things are scary. Things come out in the headlines. You're like, what does that mean for the stock? But I think as long as you're trading a ticker, you know what I mean, whatever ticker it may be, but that has, actual long-term moat, and nothing's really changing with whatever news may be coming out in the company. I mean, I think you gotta be buying those dips, you know what I mean? So
yeah, you have to always. I honestly, I'm fully invested at this point. I don't have any cash left, so.
I'm sad. I have a little too much cash left still. I still have like 30% cash in my long term. I need to put in more, but
I will probably lose a couple of hundreds of shares of certain names today because of the covered calls. So that's how it works. Then there will be cash.
Yeah. 100%. What do you got any trades? Any more stuff you're looking at for the morning? I know you're watching Tesla and Coinbase
today?
Pretty closely.
I have MSTR and I have Tesla and Ocloid. That's enough for me, honestly.
That's enough, yeah.
I'm not gonna do more than that.
It's Friday. It's time to wrap up the week.
Oh
isn't it?
yeah. I'm honestly Friday. I'm so checked out, and I love to really go heavy on Sunday evening and Monday with the prep, and I have my charts for the week, and I'm just hanging on those charts because sometimes they don't materialize on Monday or Tuesday, but then they materialize on Wednesday. So I don't want to work too hard. I want to make this as simple as possible and enjoy it,
Did you guys have any thoughts on the Fed and the FOMC meeting we had this week?
I wasn't surprised, actually. That was exactly what I thought is going to happen.
Yeah.
Couldn't pay me to listen to a Fed. Again, I've gone the complete other way. I am excited to program my little robots and test some white papers that I read and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the listening to an economist speak about the economists is it's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, no, sometimes I listen to them, but honestly, it's always the same thing, and they never really surprise. I mean, pretty much most of the meetings we got what we were expecting. So Powell is pretty dry and direct, and you know, he doesn't answer questions. He doesn't know the answers to, which I think is
I don't know.
legitimate.
It's all uncertain at the moment. And like
Yeah.
every answer for every question.
Yeah, but he's to be honest
But-
with you, he's right.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's like that with
know.
trading, right? Like I'll be on stream and people
Yeah.
ask me this or that. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I need more data, right? It's the same thing. So I get it for sure. It's interesting stuff. And then, you know, he's got Trump down his back, just pressuring him constantly too. So
I always feel
It's-
so bad for that guy. He's like, I just
Poor
want
pal.
to. Well, he's
feel
kind of
bad
like
for
me.
him
He's like,
too.
leave me alone. I want to play with my numbers. I want to, you know, play with my models, and you know, I'm getting called out on Twitter and all
I
this.
feel like
and-
you can see it when he's speaking because people will ask about, oh, Trump said this. What do you think about this, pal, or whatever? And you can just see it in his face. He's like, can you not talk to me about that? I'm so done. Like, I just want to play with my
Yes.
numbers. And it's
Yeah.
so funny.
QBTS
Yeah, it's okay,
is
guys.
getting-
We need this, to be honest with you, because people are just spending like crazy. A little bit of cool-off period is not a bad idea. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, we cannot go back to what we had last 15 years. There is
Yeah.
no way that we can keep printing money. There is no way we can have zero interest rates. Like, it just doesn't work that way. It's going to blow up on us at some point, and it's going to be really ugly. So I think this is a good time for people to actually reevaluate their finances and a less consumer society. Although we are a consumer country, our economy is based on that, but it's fine. I think, honestly, when I bought my real estate in 2005 and 2006, I was also having over 5% interest rates. So, you know, I wasn't even thinking about it because it was normal. So we got too spoiled. So it's good to crack down a little bit on that, I think. I don't want
I
to sound
think-
too strict.
Well, and again, as someone who's not an economist and doesn't follow this stuff, I think the fact that the economy is still standing must mean that JPOW is doing a great job, because you got to think what he went through. He went through a trade war back in the day with the first Trump administration, and then COVID, and then massive inflation, and then another trade war. And yeah, things have been crazy, but dude's had to deal with a lot, right? I'm sure if you told him in advance when he was signing on for the job all of the stuff that was going to happen in his tenure, he probably would have said absolutely not. So yeah, and I don't, you know, it's one of those, we're not supposed to care about the Fed. They're not supposed to do too much. They're supposed to do exactly what he's doing now, which is you find a interest rate area that you think is good, and you make little adjustments up and down to try to keep the economy on path, which it seems like, from what I've heard, that's exactly what he wants to do. He's like, I want to keep it around this area, maybe down 50 bips, maybe up 50 bips, but just, you know, keep everything on the straight and narrow. Yeah, so qubits there.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I'm looking at it. And
So, yeah.
RGTY failed a little bit, the breakout here for me. I don't like this setup. I'm going to redo it. Maybe it would be better if it's like even here. I don't know.
Yeah, I just put a stop, like you guys were saying when chilling out. The one thing I love about interactive brokers and the robot trading and everything I do is that you can I put a stop limit just for the audience, which means if it gets there, then I will buy it.
Yeah.
With a limit in place, so you know if it explodes, it won't. I have it with that. You can put out the stop loss, and with that, you can put out a profit target. So I put out like a lofty profit target in case it gets wacky for the day. So as soon as you fill out that whole order, you're done with the trade, and you just check on it once a day. So that order is filled out. So if we break 11, just to make it easy on qubits, then yeah, I'll be buying some. Stop will be around yesterday's low, so I think around $8 or so. And then I'm just gonna look
Stop
to
will
see
be
if it
where?
goes crazy. I
Yesterday's
think we're-
low?
Yeah,
Really?
we're a little, like $7-8. I'm
Ooh,
thinking
wow.
I've got a trend line that I'm drawing there, and you can probably see it against those lows.
That's a huge stop, huh? It's,
It is, but you just size yourself accordingly,
of
right?
course. Yeah.
So,
Buy less shares, yeah. Okay,
but
I
I
was just
just-
curious how you structure your stop losses. I'm like a little bit different there, but I want to know how you do your stop losses. Tell me more.
For me, it's just either now systematically. When it's a systematic trade, it's simply an ATR number, right? So
ATR,
again,
yeah, I have it right here, 92 cent.
Yeah, so I use a percentage of ATR. Sometimes I'll use like a multi-day high or a multi-day low, like your old school turtle trading type of thing. But this, I just look at it and I say, if I use a $8 stop and it gets to 20, which is not beyond the pale of reason for something like this, then that's I think a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 risk reward. So that, you know, I just run the math and say, okay, well, what's the probability of that? Probability is pretty good. So yeah, it's like a 3-to-1. I just drew it out there. Yeah, we're on 3-to-1 risk reward. So if I think there's better than a 25 or 30% chance that it's going to do that, then I should take the trade. And it just, the chart looks so nice. The fact that if you zoom way out, this is pretty much an all-time high. Like the all-time high is just like 12 or 13. And I'm trying to find an official short float on this one, and everywhere I look is completely different. So it's not crazy high short float, but it's like 15-20%. And if that starts crashing through new all-time highs, then again, maybe it can get a little bit wacky. So this, and you know, what I want this is a momentum trade, right? So give me a week or two in this one, and I'll be moved on after that.
Yeah. If it doesn't work out, you're out. Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. Nice. Well, we'll see. Looks good so far. Looks nice. So
we'll see. And again, I love again, for the audience, I know you guys know this, but just if you I almost knocked over my mic. If you have an idea like that, just do what I did there and set out all the rules in the entry order, and then walk away. Right? It's got a profit target around 20. It's got a stop loss. Everything is associated with it. In I don't know about most brokers, but in interactive brokers, you can even do a time stop. So I can say, get me out 2 weeks from now. If it hasn't hit the profit log or the stop, then just outlay as much of the trade as you can on order entry, and then walk away. It's 2025. My phone will vibrate and say, hey, you know, it's but yeah, it's, if it comes through, then it will just associate everything with it. It will stop me out, it'll profit target, and then just the amount of thinking I have to do has now been reduced so much to someone who's going to be sitting there. And I know there's probably people out there right now with QBTS just sitting there waiting to hit the button. It's like, why? Just put out the order, walk away. Right?
Yeah.
Save your brain.
Wow. Oh my God,
agree.
I'm flying on my GBTC. I'm so happy.
Let's go. Love to hear it. Well, guys, this is a great morning. I appreciate you guys hopping on, sharing the thoughts as always. I hope the audience enjoys the FAFO Friday show we put on. It's always a good time with you guys, and so much nicer that now I've actually met both of you. I met Lia briefly in Miami, like very briefly when I was with Wolf, but like I was actually like able to talk to you for a little bit.
You were in
there.
my house.
I was. we were downstairs. We were
freezing.
I was doing a Spaces, and that room was so cold.
I know. Oh my God, they're crazy here in the billiard, the game room. Yes,
I know. That was
it's so cold in Miami in the same sentence.
No, because
guys is not.
The
I don't
AC,
care.
It's awful here. Really, like, trust me, I can wear fur coat inside.
Why
of
do you
Miami.
think I'm in Puerto Rico? I don't like being cold, Michael Nauss. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, come visit me in like February. I dare you.
Gosh. I will not be happy. All right, guys. Well, you guys enjoyed the trading day. Everybody in the audience, trade safe the rest of the day. It's FAFO Friday, so don't get too crazy and ruin your weekend. You know, you want to have a good weekend, so don't risk too much. Have a great day trading. Follow your rules, and we'll see everybody after the weekend next week. So enjoy the day. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye. Peace out.
See you guys.